Hey y'all, I wanted to go in and show one final thing for the inventory. So this is part 3 out of 2. It's how to better manage inventory items so you can make a bunch of them without needing prefabs for each object necessarily. You would instead have like data objects for each one, so they don't have like 3D models and all that stuff. They can load that later, or 3D models can reference that inventory item. That way you kind of separate the look of the item from the data about the item itself. It just makes it a nice, cleaner system. And the way we do that is instead of having it just be a public class inventory item, not a mono behavior, it's just a generic type, we're going to have it be a scriptable object. Now, a scriptable object means that it can be an asset in Unity. Let me see if it even has a little description. A class you derive from, if you want to, it don't need to be attached to game objects. Yeah, so these are data elements that you can have in your folder, almost like a prefab, like instances of this object in your folder hierarchy, and it'll make more sense when we get there. So it's a scriptable object, and then let me just verify over here. I'm gonna minimize this. I want to make sure I'm not doing any typos as I type along. Oh, one thing we should also add. So it's a scriptable object. I don't think I need it to be serializable anymore because now I'm allowing it to be its own thing. I'm going to have it have an enumerator called item type. I could put it inside or outside. Maybe I'll put it inside. Public enum, and remember, an enum or an enumerator is just a list of names that are replacing an integer. So 0, 1, or 2 could be sword or weapon, equipment, or potions. You know, you could have different types of items. And instead of representing them through like an integer or something, I'm going to make it plain readable. So inventory, maybe item type. Yeah, let's do item types. Item types. And maybe we have weapon. Maybe we have default. Maybe we capital D, because lowercase d is a special type of variable. You don't want to have that be a lowercase d. And I don't know, furniture. You can have furniture, or weapon, maybe like equipment, or default. Cool. And so now not only do I have a name, I don't actually think I need to serialize this field anymore, but I'll just have it. Public item types, item type. And it'll be by default, it'll be default by default. And remember, this is just basically 0. You even see it says equipment equals 1, furniture equals 2, default equals 3. It's just a way of making integers mean something that's readable to programmers or to whoever's going in the system. They get little nice drop downs, all that type of thing. Anyway, okay, so we have our enumerator that lets us just specify what type of item this is in case we want to filter later on, like, oh, I just want to open an equipment menu, so it filters out everything else. So we got that, and now I need to be able, it's a scriptable object, meaning I should be able to, just like when you right-click, create new 3D object or new folder, you should be able to right-click and make a new scriptable object. Let me just double check the, yes, okay, so when I right-click, I'm gonna give myself a plain readable way to right-click and add it in. So create asset menu. Actually, I believe this goes in a new script called editor. Let me just double check that. Yeah, I'll do it like this for now and just make sure that it works. Create asset menu. I can give it a default file name like new default inventory item, and I give it a path that I want to be able to right click and navigate. So I believe that's menu name, and I would make it inventory item / default item, something like that. Boom. They also, I saw in this, they had a nice little description box, and maybe I'll include that. Actually, no, I shouldn't need to. I have my own item stats thing. I don't need it. We're all good. So now when I go back over here, I might get some bugs because I changed it from a normal class to a scriptable object class. Looks like I didn't, but I know I'll need to change some stuff in some other spots. Let's make a new section in here. You'll notice that I have that inventory item now. Boom. But let's make a new folder called inventory. Right click, create inventory item, default item. And I'll name this default item. Boom. And now you'll notice, without making a prefab or anything, I just have access to making my own data object. And if I go back to the thing we made before, which was an inventory item, let me look it up. Pickup behavior. Pickup behavior wants an inventory item. So let's remove the serialized field, go to our item, and that item should now look like a little slot. Let me just double check this. Oh, pickup item here. And now I can actually drag this default item, boom, into here. And so when this gets collected, it can just use this data type. I don't need to always, if I had two of the same item, I don't need to make two objects and then retype in all the information both times. So I'm gonna make 3 items here. The first one is gonna be sword. Third one's gonna be shield. Boom. Shield, I'll give it an item name of shield. Item type of equipment. I'll give it a basic, let's find a texture. Let's have some fun. I'm gonna go find a random texture. Shield 8-bit. I can dig it. Let's look up by square. Oh, I thought I could, oh yeah, square, cool. And I wanted to have some transparency to it, boom. I dig this one. That's a pretty good generic shield. I'm gonna copy, or I'm gonna save image as, just throw it on my desktop, shield.ping. Let's get myself a sword as well. Man, Zelda is always like top 3. That's even an 8-bit. That's funny. Corrupted. That's Minecraft, isn't it? I'll use. I like that one, a master sword. Okay, so let's save image as sword.png. Of course, make your own art. Problem is, I'm not an artist. Hey, you quit looking at my taxes. Get out of here. Okay. Here they are. I'm gonna drag it into here. Come on. I think that should do it. In the assets folder, and then I'll move it into art. Here they are. Get into the art folder, boom. And they are both going to be of type UI. Where is that? Here it is. Apply. Bim bam boom. And now when I go back to my inventory guy, I can click on my shield. I'll give it a sprite of shield. I'll go to my sword. I'll give it a sprite of sword. And now, gotta give it a name. Maybe I'll remove one of these, delete an array element. Maybe I'll say strength is 10. And I'll say defense is 1. Maybe just wearing it because it has a little hilt or something. Maybe you could use it to defend. I don't know. And for this one, defense plus 10. And there's no strength value or anything. Maybe I could add a weight 20. And on sword, weight 5. It's a nice light sword. This guy is of type weapon, and this guy is of type equipment. That's correct. Let me just make sure that my item stats here is empty, so I'm going to hit minus, delete, and delete. My default one will have nothing. Boom. So now I got my sword and my shield. Pick up item, that one is this. Pick up item, this is that. Excuse me. And now I should be able to press play. Oh, I wonder what that meant. We'll find out later. Collect EU. Hey, collect EU. Boom. And let's look at my player. His inventory manager. He indeed has a shield and a sword. And that is how we do an inventory system using inventory slots instead of, well, more accurately, scriptable objects instead of having all the information kind of duplicated everywhere. And now you have a single source where you're editing content about particular items, and that can be useful. And then as we go forward, you could do inheritance and have different types of items and all that stuff. But overall, I hope that was useful. Thank you so much for bearing with me for part 3 out of 2, and have a great day. Let me close out of my OBS, and I'll talk to you later.